Dear media compatriots, we urge the Nigerian working people, the youth, and the poor to come out en masse in peaceful protest on October 1st, 2024, a day of national survival. We would like to commence this press conference by expressing our profound gratitude to the ladies and gentlemen of the press for your role in standing by and reporting the truth during the August 1 to 10 End Bad Governance protest. We of the End Bad Governance movement have decided to declare October 1st, 2024 as a National Day of Survival. On this day, we call on the Nigerian people, workers, students, youth, the unemployed, traders, and the poor to come out in peaceful protests and demonstrations against the excruciating condition of hardship, poverty, and hunger imposed on us by President Tinubu's decision to implement IMF World Bank-inspired anti-poor capitalist policies of fuel price hike, electricity tariff hike, school fees hike, and naira devaluation. We also call on the Nigerian people to utilize this day to demand with one voice the immediate and unconditional release of all NSAS and all End Bad Governance protesters in police and prison custodies, as well as freedom for detained journalists, whistleblowers, activists, and all victims of state repression.
The fact that we had some protests from August 1st for 10 days, and there is no any positive takeaway for the people, demands that this protest should continue. Because I heard the Vice President at the United Nations Assembly saying, when democracy fails, the people will react, the people will complain, the people will protest. So if our Vice President can go to the United Nations to say that, why should protesters be hoodwinked into prison in Nigeria?
There are several reasons why we have decided to name October 1st as a National Day of Survival. The first reason is that whereas every October 1st is a day to celebrate Nigeria's national independence, we do not think that our country has anything to celebrate this year. Nigerians are neither happy nor free after 64 years of political independence from colonial Britain. Rather, the Nigerian working masses are poor, hungry, and hardly surviving. Since coming to power, the Tinubu regime has imposed unprecedented hardship on millions of Nigerians and pushed them into multidimensional poverty and monumental misery. Many working families are at the point of starvation. Several people have lost their jobs. The middle class has been destroyed. The rate of suicide is increasing. Secondly, Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary is coming at a period when our country's hard-won civil rule is no more distinguishable from military rule. When democracy now looks like despotism, the judiciary is captured, the citizens are enslaved, while a simple exercise of the freedom to protest is now deemed treasonable. Basic liberties like freedom of expression, association, and lawful assembly that usually distinguishes free citizens from slaves are now largely absent in our country. For instance, 10 young Nigerians and activists have been charged with treason and may face the death penalty if found guilty just because they displayed placards saying "End Bad Government" during the End Bad Governance protest in August. Also, despite that the Federal High Court in Abuja gave them bail since 11 September, a majority of the activists continue to languish in Kuje prison, where they are being held due to the onerous conditionalities attached to their bail. So in a sense, Nigerians are not much better. Nigerians are not much better off today than the days of military dictatorship. And this is why we believe that October 1st should be a day for the Nigerian people to collectively demand an end to attack on democratic rights and criminalization of protest. The date of our action is Tuesday, 1st October 2024. The takeoff point is Ikeja under bridge and the time is 7:30 a.m. By this announcement, we are informing the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, of our planned October action. We are also, by this means, informing the police of its obligation under Section 83, subsection 4 of the Police Establishment Act 2020, which imposes a duty on the Nigerian police force to provide adequate security for citizens who may wish to participate in public meetings, rallies, and protests. We hereby call on the Nigerian people, progressive organizations, community groups, trade unions, student unions, youth groups to come out massively on October 1st in peaceful protest and demonstration. The October 1st action is a warning, and also it is an urgent cry to the Tinubu administration to address our demands immediately. Unless these demands are met, more protests will definitely follow the National Day of Survivor on October 1st.
You know, we all want to say, oh, a revolution is coming. They've been predicting one in Nigeria before I was born. Malam Aminu Kanu predicted one, the uprising of the Talakawas. Tunji Braithwaite predicted it. Remember the one of the cockroaches and rats? Fela Anikulapo predicted it. Ganifa Oyemi predicted it. Every person who had made it their business to examine Nigeria, to look at its conditions, the unsustainability of the choices that we have made, have had occasion to predict a Nigerian revolution. My brother Yele speaks of it frequently. A lot of people speak to the revolution on multiple fronts. Almost all socialist thinkers in Nigeria have had occasion to speak to the coming revolution. So everybody speaks about a Nigerian revolution. They speak of it as an inevitable outcome of our many trajectories and contradictions. In the case of Nigeria, where the putrefaction is not just governmental, it is the entire society itself that has become decadent, visionless, and devoid of purpose. A revolution in the classic sense, which is the overthrow of the reigning class, would not work. There has to be a revolution of the Nigerian mind. We, as a collective, would have to consciously decide that we can be better and we want to be better. So the Nigerian revolution is not inevitable. What is inevitable is the coming storm. And that coming storm is what I want us to speak to. If you're looking to the Nigerian situation to predict the coming storm, you must necessarily look to the rainmakers. You look to the churches and mosques, the Oro groves now. You look to religion first. You look to the purpose and the result. What has religion achieved in the Nigerian space? Stupefaction. So the Nigerian is not really given to too much thoughts any longer. He is largely dependent on the reflexes that he has inherited from his religious indoctrination. So instead of looking to use his God-given brain to resolve the problems, he is given to his religious reflexes in order to react instead of to respond. So when you have a situation where these perfect rainmakers are in the Nigerian space, the only thing you guarantee because of all these inequities is a storm, not a revolution. That our young lady from the south, preparing to cross the Sahara, she already knew she'll be raped. So she bought condoms. She prepared for the journey. Rape was an acceptable risk. So to minimize that risk, she bought condoms, which she will ask her rapist to please use. Eventually, maybe a few out of 10, maybe out of 10 young men and women who will trek across the Sahara, cross the Mediterranean, let's say about 6 or 7 out of 10 would eventually make a harrowing months in detention camps, immigration camps. Eventually, they make it to mainland Europe. Go to the internet. You see multiple videos. I saw one made by CNN, actually. Young Nigerian girls in Parc des Princes in Paris being paid €5 to trade their flesh out in the park. They escaped. That is their own reaction. Responses. Multiple people have different stories to tell, but they saw the coming storm, or the rain started earlier in their neighborhood. But what are the ruiners themselves doing? Almost without exception, everybody responsible for the ruination of Nigeria has a second passport. They have second residences. I know Obas, including the idiot who was trying to murder me. He carries foreign passports. They all carry foreign passports. They have foreign residences. They've given up on Nigeria. They are busy telling the Yorubas to hate Igbo, Hausa to hate Fulani, Fulani to hate Igbo. At the end of the day, they themselves are none of those things. Those things do not separate them. They are neighbors. In Knightsbridge, on the Potomac, in Dubai, they buy houses in Mecca, but their heart is far away from Allah. They buy homes everywhere. Nigeria is not their home. They are responding, planning ahead for the storm that they know would necessarily come because of the actions and inactions. They've damaged the army beyond, probably beyond redemption. Every institution of state compromised. They know that this is not sustainable, but they are planning for the day after the storm. They want you to react violently. Violence works for them. They want you to act independent of each other, discordantly, pursuing different things when your afflictions are actually the same. The ruiners have gamed that their interests are best assured by your embrace of violence, so that the system is gridlocked, and then they redefine this space in a manner that assures that they escape justice. Have you heard anybody talking about consequences for those who looted the subsidy regime? Have you heard anyone talking about charging Adisirika for the national embarrassment that was here in Nigeria? Have you heard anyone talk about it? How many times have you heard of Malami swallowing billions and billions? Who has charged him with anything? Trillions were printed during Buhari's regime. The only person being chased around is Emefiele. Trillions are still being squandered today, as if there is no tomorrow, as if tomorrow does not even matter. You're talking about a country with the perfect storm brewing. Over 20 million children. We're talking about the children that are not in school that should be in school. What about those who are not of school age any longer, much older, They're already in their late teenage years. They're already in their 20s. No training of any sort. No capacity for productivity of any sort. And yet, we've not declared a national emergency to prepare for the coming storm. These started where NSAS progressed to. NSAS progressed to end bad governance, end impunity. And that was where the last protest began. It began with end bad governance. It distilled issues. If you harmonize the lists, you probably have about 12 issues. Not a single one of those issues have been addressed. The first thing that the Nigerian state did in reaction was to bring some stupid bill that presumed to curtail the rights of Nigerians to be human. Stupidity and hubris of the highest order. There is a coming deluge. Let me say it again. There is a coming deluge. Ignore it at your peril. Address these issues. Address them urgently. Them, meaning the ruiners. They belong to no tribe. Fela said it rightly. They are beasts of no nation. They know nothing about God. Those who know of God will not leave you to be starving when they are spending billions, 90 billions to subsidize Hajj. You come, how many people will go to Hajj? How many would have benefited from all of that? Where did they find that in their own Quran? And as they are wasting money on you going to Hajj, they're doing the same with the Christians who are not even going to Jerusalem most of the time. They go to Jordan. They go to Lebanon. That is how they are preparing. You prepare by uniting yourself.